You know, the legacy of explorer Christopher Columbus in the last couple of decades, well, it's been surrounded by controversy. President Trump has now stepped into the fray as more cities and states eliminate Columbus Day from the calendar or combine it with Indigenous Peoples Day. The president says, well, he's going to bring that great explorer back from the ashes. To talk about this and so much more is Mr. DiMino, the president of the Italian American One Voice Coalition, back here on the Live Zone. Happy Friday, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you, Guy. Good to be back with you.
I know you have been patient for the past several days, and so we want to say thank you for doing just that. Can you start by telling us more about the Italian American One Voice Coalition before we jump into Columbus Day?
Sure. We're a nationwide nonprofit specifically dedicated to defending Italian American heritage and culture against stereotyping, and more recently in defending our iconic symbol of Christopher Columbus.
And with that being said, obviously Christopher Columbus has been catching a bad rap for quite some time, at least right here in America. We know that several states have actually gone to the wayside with regard to saying they are not going to celebrate Christopher Columbus Day and instead are now celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. Your take on that?
Well, it's really unfortunate. You know, there are 11 states and dozens of cities, towns, and school districts that eliminated Columbus Day, many of them in favor of Indigenous Peoples Day, as you say. But in reality, we want to celebrate with Indigenous people right along with them, but on their own day. Don't take away one holiday for another, and don't pit one group against another. We should look to unify people and look for unity and not division. And actually, to that end, Guy, we've actually made a relationship between our organization and the Native American Guardians Association, which is a nationwide Native American group, and they're out to preserve their names like the Redskins, the Chiefs, and so forth. And at the same time, they want to help us with the cancel culture that's going after Columbus Day. So we're supporting them and they're supporting us. We want to celebrate with Indigenous people on their own day and leave Christopher Columbus and Columbus Day alone.
Well, it appears President Trump is siding with you as well. I'm curious your take on the declaration of Mr. Christopher Columbus in the eyes of President Trump.
Well, Guy, we were absolutely thrilled when President Trump came out with that very definitive statement. You know, he had supported him years ago in 2020, but now with this statement that he made this past Sunday, we're absolutely thrilled because there's no equivocation there. There's absolutely definitive that he supports Columbus Day in Columbus for Italian Americans and actually for all Americans because, you know, Columbus united the continents and he brought the world together, which was one of the single largest events that occurred in human history. And, you know, unfortunately, he's been maligned with all these falsehoods about him, which have been totally disputed by noted academics and authors. In fact, one author, Rafael Ortiz, is a person of indigenous heritage himself, and he wrote 4 books defending Columbus. So, you know, I'm glad to see the president is making it very clear where he stands on Columbus.
Which leads me to my next question, and you just touched on it. What do you say to those who say, well, we've heard or we have now read that Mr. Christopher Columbus really isn't as innocent as he has been put forth with regard to what was done to the indigenous people that were here prior to his arrival?
Well, yeah, and of course, when Columbus got to this part of the world, there was no Garden of Eden, and we can't hold people of those times to today's standards. But specifically with regard to Columbus, most of these falsehoods came from Howard Zinn's book. Howard Zinn was a self-declared anarchist and Marxist who wanted to destroy our country by going after its underpinnings. And that's why he started with Columbus, but he also included the founding fathers with a whole set of false facts and innuendos and so forth. And his book has been disputed by people like Rafael Ortiz, Dr. Mary Graybar, and others that just showed that what he put in his book was not correct. Unfortunately, we've had generations now that have been brainwashed with this information, and they should check the facts from primary sources.
All right, Mr. DiMino, we'll end with this, and that is, if you had it your way, what would you like to see moving forward with regard to Christopher Columbus Day?
Well, I'd like to see it go back to the way it was before, just like what President Trump said. You know, before, when I was in school and others, Columbus was revered, was respected, and Columbus Day was a major holiday across the country. By the way, it still is a federal holiday, and we don't want to see that change. So as far as we're concerned, we want to keep it the way it is. And, you know, we welcome anyone that's interested in this to go to our website and check out more about it. Our website is our initials, IAOVC.org, IAOVC.org, and join with us in defending Columbus not only for Italian Americans, but actually for all of America.
Yet again, we have been speaking with Mr. Andre DiMino, president of the Italian American One Voice Coalition. Always good to see you, sir. Make it a great weekend.
Thank you. Same to you, Guy. Take care.
You got it.